guys, it's Nat and Carly from Brains, Bods, and Bubbles, and today's conversation is all about self-care.
So we thought we'd talk about self-care because it's a word or a term that gets thrown around a lot, but I think there's lots of misconceptions about self-care. I think there's this idea of, in order to really be engaging in self-care, I need to be in the bath with a glass of wine, listening to classical music.
Yeah, and that it can only be that.
Totally, and I think for some people that's actually more of a nightmare than it is actually relaxing, or sounds like
yeah. I don't like baths.
No,
and does anyone else's mom constantly give them bath products every
so
Christmas? Anyone else, but that you don't use? But sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, so what we thought. So the other day, a good friend of mine, Bennett, he just sent me a text with this image about all these different kinds of self-care. So we're actually going to post it onto our page.
Onto our Facebook page.
Yeah. Because I looked at it and I was like, man, this is brilliant because there's so many different aspects and ways to think of self-care that I just don't think people are really aware of.
Yeah, exactly. You think of it only as one way, or again, it has to be an hour in the bubble bath, and if you don't do that, then you're not taking care of yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
and so I guess, the importance of self-care, and it really relates to both the body and the mind, because it's connected to both. So if we think back to our window of tolerance, self-care is what we can use to widen our window, or it's what we can use to get us back into our window. It's also what we can use to heal physically.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's really connected to both, and it's super important. So I'm sure a lot of you has probably heard the plane mask analogy. So the idea is, put your plane mask on, or the oxygen mask, before you help the person next to you.
Yeah.
Which is what self-care is all about. So lots of people think of self-care as being selfish, especially parents. Parents are big for that. I can't engage in self-care because I need to take care of my kids, I need to do this, I need to do that. And yes, true.
Yes.
But how do you expect to show up for the people in your life if you're not taking care of yourself enough to be able to do that?
Yes.
If I'm tired, if I'm grumpy, if my body hurts.
Yes.
I don't show up the same way that I do.
Exactly. Or even for work too. I know there's a lot of hard workers that follow us, or entrepreneurs, or whatever you do, you are hard workers, and I think a lot of people put their work first, and they just think I need to get my work done, I need to show up for it. And yes, I get that to an extent, right? We all need to keep the lights on, we all need to get the bills paid, but if you're not taking care of yourself, inevitably you're gonna end up sick or stressed, and then if your stress takes you out, if you're sick for a week or two, goodness forbid, then what happens? So just make sure that you're, it's preventative work.
It is,
right?
Yeah. So, take a look at the post later on our page, but basically the different kinds of self-care that are outlined in the diagram, I guess.
Yeah.
It's in the diagram. So there's physical self-care, emotional, social, spiritual, personal, space, financial, and work.
That's a lot of self-care. It's 8.
It's 8
categories.
Right, and there's so many, so things you wouldn't even think about are self-care. Say you have I've had to fill out this form, and it's really important to submit it, and I have had it sitting on my desk for a month. That causes stress and anxiety for lots of people, right? So some of self-care is actually just doing tasks and getting stuff done, cleaning the kitchen, doing this, doing that. That is self-care.
I'm a procrastinator. Totally admit it.
Fair.
And it causes me stress. So
yeah, right. But financial too. Maybe if I have a budget set up, maybe that helps with my self-care. Emotional. Maybe I need to take my dog I don't have a dog.
Yeah.
But maybe you do. Maybe you need to take your dog.
I have a cat. I take my cat for walks.
I have a best friend.
Yeah.
Take her for a walk. And with the space, it's talking about the environment and even just your personal space around you. I know so many people who come and be like, I'm so stressed because my house is a freaking disaster.
Space is an interesting one. That's not one I would have thought of.
Yeah, and I think it's also about personal space. I think you were telling me earlier about I need my space from people.
I've learned this over time, that I'm an extroverted introvert. So I love being with people. My job is being around people all the time. I get serious FOMO too. I want to be with people all the time. But I definitely have learned to recharge. I need to be by myself and just in my own space. I just never really thought of that as like a category of self-care, but it's really, I need to book out the time or a day where it's just me.
Yeah.
So, and not feel guilty about it.
And that's,
yeah. I think that's the problem too, right? A lot of people feel guilty about self-care, or mental health days is still a big stigma to,
Yeah, for sure. And I think, and that goes back to the plain mask. You need to take care of yourself. It's so important. And I think, Natasha, you brought up a really good point earlier when we were talking about this idea that sometimes we engage in self-care and don't process it or recognize it as self-care, which can actually kind of decrease the impact it has on us. So there's this big idea around being mindful when we're engaging in self-care. So there's a big difference of, I'm going to sit on the couch for half an hour and feel awful about it because I should be doing something else. Or I might sit on the couch for half an hour and not even process it at all. Or I can sit on the couch and be like, man, I deserve this. I'm going to really just enjoy this show for half an hour. I'll get to my task later, but I'm going to really like take this in.
Yeah. Yes. Curly and I's mantra lately is, I'm a VIP. So like whatever I'm doing for self-care, because you feel guilty about it, right? Like we all have stuff to do, just like you said. Sometimes we're sitting on the couch trying to read or watch TV, whatever your self-care is, and then we feel guilty about it and we're stressed the whole time because we're like, we need to do this and this and this. But whatever I'm doing or we do now, it's like I just say I'm a VIP. I deserve to have this time.
Yeah.
We're all VIPs.
It's
like
that mindset too, right? Where you do deserve it.
And acknowledge it.
Yeah, and acknowledging it. So that was a beautiful, I think that's really important to be like, man, like, because it also impacts us differently. To be like, I'm not just walking around the river right now or the block. I'm really like, I'm calming myself down. I'm getting sun on my face. I'm getting fresh air. I'm breathing probably. And this is really helping me, right? So I think that was a really important point. Another important thing to kind of keep in mind is that, I mean, everyone will experience self-care differently and need it differently. For some people, you can go all day and then you just take your evening to kind of get that self-care in. You could also be the type that goes through the whole week and then just on the weekend it's nothing but self-care. But I think for a lot of people that's not quite good enough in the sense that they won't feel recharged by that, which I think I've experienced before.
Oh yeah, and I think we all feel it. Like Mondays are tough enough.
Yeah.
I think it really hits you on a Monday if you've not taken care of yourself all week.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. So there's different ways that you can kind of, I mean, some people need to really insert it throughout your day. It's kind of like snacking throughout the day. So you get your fuel for your body throughout the day, or standing up from your desk every 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is, rather than just doing a big chunk of it, or not eating all day and just eating a big dinner. So people do different things. Like maybe they'll set their alarm on their phone for every 30 minutes to actually do that, to get up your desk, maybe go out the front door, get sun on your face, grab a coffee, say hi to a friend.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know too, so I have clients through the day, and typically like I'll have like a 10-15 minute break, and it's really easy for me to just be like, I'm just gonna stay inside and like scroll Instagram. But when I do get outside, and I honestly just get outside and get some sunshine, it makes a world of difference. Like it's actually crazy how much my mood and energy can change by just being outside, taking that time for me. And like, and what would you say to people, since we're saying taking that time for you, social media or being on our phones is a huge thing. What do you say to people who might argue that like being on my phone or Instagram is self-care?
Yeah. You know, I wouldn't disagree, but I think it has to be balanced.
Right.
Because, and it purposeful too, right? Like, so, because for me, and actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of my self-care, I think, throughout the day is, I'm just going to check out Instagram or Pinterest for a hot minute or 2 minutes, right? And just check out things, and it's kind of fun, right? Because you get to see your friends, and you get to look at a cool recipe or whatever it is. But it can turn quickly, right? Because if an hour later you're next down and you're scrolling through, and then you feel like, darn, I just missed a whole hour of where then it turns into guilt and shame and all this other stuff.
Well, exactly. Like, how does it make you feel? Like, I know sometimes, like, I think we've all gone through the Instagram whirlwind, where you're looking through and all of a sudden you just notice your mood starts to drop, because like I can get upset or sad looking at Instagram, because you just see people, living their best lives. They're posting what they want you to see.
Yeah.
So you kind of I can get down on myself.
Yeah.
So I guess to your point, if it makes you feel really good, then that counts, I guess. But
For
yeah,
sure.
notice how you feel.
Yeah.
If you start to feel icky and like,
which goes back to the
down on
mindfulness
yourself.
piece, right? Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess, and a final kind of thing to leave you guys with is this idea too that where you might be sitting there being like, yeah, right. I have 0 time in my life for that, and that's okay. Because the last thing we want is you to leave feeling bad because I don't have time for self-care, so I'm screwed.
Yes.
It's not about that. It can honestly be if you can give yourself 3 minutes a day to just even like sit down for a second and just like reflect or stare at your child or look at the bite of food you're about to have or the bubbles you're about to have. Whatever it might be.
Cuddle your puppy, cuddle your kitty.
Yeah, any of those things. That's all good, right? Like you don't need a whole ton of it. You just need a little bit because you matter, and it's important to give ourselves permission to engage in self-care. So I think that's kind of a
yeah. I love that. It is like it's hard, right? Like it takes practice, it takes time. And if you like fall off the wagon, like you haven't practiced self-care in a couple weeks, that's okay. Just start new that day.
Yeah,
that's all. Like don't. I think a lot of people get down on themselves, and then it's a little bit of a
backlash
spiral.
Yes.
Yeah. So just be kind to yourself. So Carly, what do you do for self-care? Or what are some things you do for self-care?
So I love to walk. I love to put my earbuds in, put my country music on, and go for a walk. And I put my phone on airplane mode so I don't get texts, I don't get any kind of notifications. And that's a big one for me. Also huge, hanging out with you. And doing anything, really, working out, just chilling, having bubbles. I mean, I can't stress that point enough that this is self-care. Also playing crib with my husband.
To a reasonable amount. Sorry.
So those are things I do for self-care, but also I make lists of things I need to accomplish. I work out.
Person. Yeah.
I love to get a sweat on. Yeah. How about you?
A lot of the things you said, again, making sure that I spend time with myself, and that could be doing a number of things, whether it's like reading, watching trash TV, but it's making sure that I don't do work, because I get caught in that too, because I have we both have our own businesses, but I find I get caught in that a lot. As soon as I start to kind of relax, then I just think like, you know what, I'll just open my laptop and just, why not answer a couple emails, but then I'm really not taking care of myself. So making sure that I've got alone time, working out, and guys, I'm in fitness, and sometimes it's hard to do that. Like sometimes, honestly, I don't want to, but I do feel a lot better after I do it. You're never gonna regret a workout. Holistic healing or like body work, so energy work, acupuncture, a massage. So I try and book an appointment for myself where I'm being taken care of at least twice a month. But somewhere where I'm going that I'm being taken care of by someone else. So like acupuncture, massage, facial, energy work.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
So as you can see, there's lots of different types of self-care, and we really encourage all of you to engage in some. Maybe right after you're done watching this. Do something for yourself.
Don't feel guilty about it.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and if you're up for it, maybe grab a glass of bubbles or your favorite drink or some water to get hydrated.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be, and just take some time for yourself and
and remember that you're a VIP.
Every day.
Every day. Cheers, guys.